Well, Willy here. All right, we're just gonna jump right into it. So, like when you're presented with information, when you're presented with some information, you're gonna take it at face value, or you're not gonna take it at face value. So, say, I'm gonna give you some information right now in this video, and you're gonna, see for yourself, or you're not. If you're not going to see for yourself, then that's where it ends, right? It's nothing. But if you choose to see for yourself, you're going to take the information I give you at face value, or you're not. You're going to go with an attitude and a mindset of this is bogus, or sure, yeah, I think that's true, and I'm gonna put my faith in that, and I'm gonna go on from there, or I'm gonna go, hey, this is bogus. Okay, so and if you say, hey, this information you've given me, wow, Willy, it's bogus, you're gonna go see for yourself. You're gonna go get your own personal insight. You're gonna go get your own personal insight. If you take the information that I give you right now, and you go see for yourself, and you say, yeah, I think he's right, and you live the life, you put your faith in that, you go on. You will see through inspiration that it's true. Or anyways, I don't know, that's just an idea. But so what I'm saying is a lot of my videos come from inspiration, and a lot of them come from my own understandings. Like I looked at the chakras a lot in my movies. I got the book over there. I took the model from Ken Key's Handbook to Higher Consciousness. Look that guy up. That guy's amazing. I took his chakra model. I kind of adjusted it based on my own understanding slightly, and I created models to show everybody to try to point towards a higher way of living, a higher dimension of our beings. Right? That's what he did. That's what I did. I took his model at face value and I presented it to you, and in doing that, I was able to see the truth in it, and it was cool, right? We're gonna take some information, the chakras, not at face value. I'm gonna present them to you in a way that's taken it not at face value, against everything everybody said. I got a little book here. It talks about the chakras in Hindi ways. I got Ken Keyes' model. He talks about the chakras in the psychological way, more of, and we're not taking that. We're not taking those. We're not taking any of it. Okay. Not at face value, my own understanding, okay? And you can take the information, and you can choose to see for yourself, and you can choose to see the truth in it through faith, or you can choose to find your own truth in it through experience. That's it, right? So, since we're energy beings, we're dealing with energy, and we're not going to call them centers. We're not really talking about centers so much. We're going to look at that a little different, okay? Like, since we're energy beings, we have this energy. And what we do with the energy is we express it. So, and depending on how much energy you have in a certain dimension of your being will dictate how it needs to be expressed. Okay? So this is kind of where we're getting to. So, first thing, you got a body. Okay? You got a body. And I'm not talking about like you feed your body food, which is energy, and then that food stores as fat because it doesn't get exercised off. I'm talking about like you've got a body, and your specific body has energy in it. And you have a specific level of energy in your body that wants to be expressed. You have an energetic need physically that needs to be satisfied. So people will go out and they'll do exercise, or they'll do activities, or they'll do things, and it will satisfy that need, that energetic need. When I was younger, I used to run. I used to love running because that satisfied a physical need I had to express my energy on a physical level. So we're looking at body. Body's one dimension, okay? So a separate dimension of body is sexual energy. Now, sexual energy belongs to body kind of because it's, your sex organs are a part of your body, but the sexual energy is a different energy than your physical energy. If you haven't had sex for a long time, you can see it. Woo! So, like, that's why teenagers, they got a really high level of sexual energy. They probably got a high level of all their energies, but especially the sexual energy. And that's why they all have sex, teenagers. You can't suppress them. And if you do, they're going to get married at 18, 19. You see? So that energy needs to be expressed. It needs to be let out, right? So you got your physical energy, you got your sexual energy. You also have a brain, so you got mental energy. Okay, you got mental energy. Now, if you're reading books, you're satisfying mental energy. I make these YouTube channels. Doing these YouTube channels gives me a reason to think about this stuff, try to put it together in a package and put it on the internet for you. It satisfies my need for mental energy. Reading books satisfies my need for mental energy. Thinking about stuff, learning about stuff, that's mental energy. So, and it's interesting too. At some point, it changes. Like I didn't like running anymore at some point because the physical needs, my physical energy levels, they shifted. So that no longer met my physical needs for expression. Okay, so I used to read a lot of fiction books. Those used to satisfy my mental needs. But I don't read fiction books hardly anymore. They don't satisfy that mental need, that energetic need, right? So it changes. It's fluid through the life. Running may have satisfied it for you one time. Maybe it doesn't anymore. Maybe, I got friends that weightlift. That satisfies their need for physical expression. They got a lot of physical energy. They need to let it out. And maybe they'll do that their whole entire lives. Maybe that satisfies that need good for them. Maybe at some point they'll say, nah, this doesn't satisfy the need anymore. And they'll switch to something different. See, it's kind of fluid, right? So, same with the mental energy. Like I said, I don't read fiction books anymore. They don't interest me. They don't satisfy that mental need, okay? So when the needs aren't met, like say, I have a hernia right now. I can't satisfy my physical needs. So those needs aren't getting met. So what happens? Well, we have another need, kind of another energy need, and it's inherently in us, and it's a destructive force. So we got our physical energy force, mental energy force, and we have a destructive force within us. This is a natural force within us, and it's the form, it's the body, kind of the body-mind, kind of complex, trying to balance out and satisfy the energetic need. So, since I can't express my physical energy in the way that it wants to be expressed, like I can't have my physical level of intensity matched, I reach for the cans. Woo! And I feel intense, man. I feel satisfied. It's not really satisfying. It's kind of destructive because it's excess caffeine, excess alcohol, excess marijuana. It's kind of destructive, and excess food, right? Too much. It creates a stress on the whole system as a whole. So it becomes a destructive energy, and it's there to balance the energy. It's there to try to satisfy those needs when there's nothing else there to satisfy it, right? So we got our physical, our mental, we have the destructive, and we also have a creative energy. We have a creative force within us that needs to be expressed, okay? So sometimes the creative force in us satisfies the needs for both physical and mental. Some activities, some exercises allow us to channel and gather all of our energy and put it into this process of creating something. And that's very satisfying. And we all have a creative energy, just as we all have a destructive energy. Okay? So, and if the creative energy is not allowed to be expressed fully or be satisfied fully, the destructive force in us is going to manifest itself. It's going to come out to try to maintain that balance. So now, I guess this is a side note. Sometimes, you're doing an activity, maybe like you're climbing mountains or you're rock climbing or something. It feels creative, but it's not really creative. It's just satisfying more physical and some mental energy kind of together, because sometimes they can do that. Mental energy satisfies mental energy, depending on what you're doing. Physical energy can satisfy mental energy, but it mostly satisfies physical energy. So it feels creative because it's kind of satisfying both. Creative energy is actually creating a product, creating something, physically creating something. So it kind of satisfies mental energy, and there is physical energy involved, but the physical creation of the object is what is the satisfaction of the creative, mental and physical, process. So they all kind of successively build on themselves. And so as we go throughout the life, and our needs are fluid and our needs change, and the more we put into the more work we put into satisfying these needs, we develop this other force within us. This other force within us called awareness, concentration, insight, just being neutral. Because if you're a creative person and you've engaged in creative activities, you know that you dissolve. You are just supremely aware of whatever it is you're doing. So you're developing this force, this energy within you. Sometimes I'm not the type of person to go run and just be running. I'm like blah, 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 blah. So being aware is running is not a good exercise for me to be aware in like that. Playing music was a good exercise for me because I was totally mentally engaged, and so I was able to develop this force through that activity. It's going to be different for people depending on their physical constitutions, right? So, but like I was saying, if we put in enough focus and attention in doing these things to satisfy those needs, we'll develop this other part of us, which is this force of awareness. And then once we create that space, we have the opportunity to practice awareness. And this is why I've made a couple videos ago, saying practicing awareness, getting a hobby, engaging in a hobby, and pain as the three methods for developing conscious awareness. So clearly, a creative activity is going to be your hobby. That's going to be your hobby kind of mostly. And that's going to develop it. And now since we've birthed, if you had your needs met enough in the life at a certain point, you birthed, there's a new dimension to myself, and you can practice being aware. And then we got to look at the pain, okay, to make it make sense, because we didn't really fully address this destructive energy within us. Now, the destructive energy within us, whereas the creative energy, you're going to be creating some physical object. Now, the destructive energy within you is going to mostly create pain in you. It's mostly going to create pain in you. And there's some other factors involved, depending on your level of pain in your conditioning and your upbringing. Like if you were conditioned with a really high level of pain, you're going to have a higher need for pain. So you're going to have to take that pain really far in the life. You're going to have to satisfy that level of destruction really far to break through, to see that conscious awareness dimension. It can be done. I've seen it done in people, but it's mostly a lot of pain. If your level of pain was a little less, it will be easier. But if it's not enough, you won't really be inclined to be destructive. You see, so there's everything's on a scale. It's fluid, So I'm just you can get to the level of conscious awareness through pain, and through destruction, through satisfying that need to destruct things. But mostly at some point, that's going to have to be disbanded. Once you arrive at the realization of conscious awareness and you become conscious of the destructive energetic pattern within you and force within you and what it does to your life situation and everything around you, it will ultimately have to be disbanded. The destructive force is only there as a mechanism to try to balance the system when all other methods have failed. So, but anyways, that was a side note relating to a separate video. Maybe I'll put that video in the description or whatever. But anyways, so let's recap. We got sexual energy, physical energy, mental energy, creative energy, destructive energy, conscious awareness energy. So, I guess since we're taking it at face value, this can be enough. It doesn't line up perfectly with the books and with what everybody says, but if we keep going and we keep developing this force of conscious awareness within us, we start to see that we don't need to reject things when they're presented to us. We don't need to necessarily say, I'm not going to take that at face value anymore. We can start to kind of take everything at face value, and we can kind of start to submit to and surrender to the reality of whatever the situation is that is being presented to us. There's no need to fight or destroy what has been presented to create our own, because we can just simply surrender. And so, as we continue to develop in this conscious awareness dimension, we can create a new dimension of surrendering, of submitting. And when we surrender, and we try to remain as open vessels, open channels, living somewhat wholesomely, living not destructively. We've disbanded the destructive nature as best as we can. Sometimes the needs aren't met. Sometimes that means, you need to develop your conscious awareness enough or more. You need to develop that a little bit more so you can, actually attain this level of submission or surrendering. But when we get there and we can allow ourselves to be wholesome and be aware and be conscious and not be engaging in harmful activities to ourselves and others, we've disbanded the destructive energetic force within us, then we can allow the inspiration to come in from outside of us. We can receive what is being given. So anyways, that's 7. We got sexual, physical, mental, creative, destructive, consciousness, conscious awareness, and surrender. And that's basically the life experience as far as I'm aware of it. Anyways, and you can take it at face value, or you can reject it, say it's bogus. You can figure it out by yourself, or you can choose to live in it in faith, and maybe the divine beings of the universe will present it to us, or present it to you in truth later. All right, till next time, let's destroy some stuff.